News at 5 o'clock. Tornadoes tear through Kentucky.
This was a devastating storm.
From Fern Creek to eastern Jefferson County.
It hammered us at 8:30.
Thousands without power, homes severely damaged.
And there's glass all on the inside of the house, all inside of the sunroom.
We hear from families home when the tornadoes hit. Plus later, a bill banning abortions after 15 weeks goes into effect immediately.
To pretend like a bill like this is actually going to stop abortions from happening is simply untrue. It will stop safe abortions from happening.
Providers telling us this law effectively stops abortions in the state, no matter the timeline. With legal challenges already in the works, our political reporter tells us what to expect in the coming weeks. WHAS 11 News at 5 starts right now.
Due to the damage that's already been seen, I am declaring a state of emergency to the governor and state emergency management for the potential to assist locally with recovery efforts.
Thanks for joining us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Kristen Goodwillie. Right now, Louisville is under a state of emergency because of extensive damage caused by at least 2 confirmed tornadoes. Mayor Greg Fisher made the declaration this morning, asking the governor for assistance in recovery efforts.
There have been no reports of death or serious injuries. Credit for that, I think, goes in large part to residents taking heed of the warnings and alerts and taking the steps necessary to protect themselves and their families.
We are keeping you up to date on damage and cleanup efforts today. An EF0 tornado was confirmed 1 mile west of Bardstown Road with winds up to 85 miles per hour. You can see just some of the damage in this drone video just off of Bardstown Road at Bohannon Station. Also, an EF1 in the Glen Mary neighborhood hitting Providence Drive with winds up to 95 miles per hour. That's where we have Ford Sanders for part of our team coverage. Meteorologist Chelsea Smith was with the National Weather Service as they surveyed that damage. But first, our team coverage starts in eastern Jefferson County. Homes in far eastern Jefferson County felt the effects of the harsh winds, resulting in dozens of large trees and power lines down with the potential to cause serious damage. WHAS 11's Isaiah Kim Martinez is live just off of Route Road, southeast of J-Town, to show us whether it did. Isaiah?
Well, Kristen, more than 100 homes here along Old Hetty Road in this neighborhood without power. And of course, crews right here, right now are doing something about it. That's one of the power poles you're seeing. And an LG&E outage map you see here shows more than 130 homes in this area without power. And a spokesperson for the company tells me restoration efforts will go into tomorrow and possibly through Saturday. Now, LG&E, like we just saw, and Louisville Public Works, their crews are here right now. Of course, people here are just thankful they're okay today. Live here in Jefferson County, Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
Thankful that they're doing okay. Thank you so much, Isaiah. Now our team coverage continues tonight in the Glen Mary neighborhood where 95-mile-per-hour winds caused this damage on your screen. Chelsea Smith was there with the National Weather Service as they confirmed an EF1 tornado in that area.
We're just seeing absolute devastation with this home, which is Glen Mary. Chelsea Smith, WHAS 11 on your side.
And I hope everyone allows them to do that. Thank you, Chelsea. Well, now the sun is up. Officials are able to fully assess the damage left behind here in Fern Creek. On Providence Drive, there is significant damage to homes and cars. LG&E officials say 26,000 people went without power last night. Because of the severe damage in the Fern Creek neighborhood, Mayor Greg Fisher says they are opening a Red Cross station. It is directly next door to the Fern Creek Fire Department on Bardstown Road in the Chamber of Commerce building. There you can charge your devices, talk directly to Red Cross personnel and the fire team if you have damage that needs to be taken care of. This drone video gives you a glimpse of the true impact of the damage off of Bardstown Road. Photojournalist John Humphris was there this morning as crews finally got to see the damage in the light of day. And Ben, you were tracking it all last night. It's much quieter today.
Oh, no doubt about that. And the radar images that we were seeing yesterday when we were tracking it live were really, really impressive when we saw the winds on the radar showing 70, 80, 90, even over 100 miles per hour. And then you actually see what happened on the ground right there. Just hate to see the devastation, but over the long range coming up.
All right, thanks, Ben. And we wanted to see any damage in your own backyards, and we got some astounding pictures. This tree was split right in half on Brett Lingard Lane. That's just past the Coles. We also got these photos texted to us from one in Creekview Estates. Multiple houses in his neighborhood had the siding ripped off and parts of roofs. And look at this cloud, still light outside in Grayson County when the storm hit there. And you can still show us what you saw last night or the damage caused. Just text us at 502-582-7290. Make sure to tell us where the photo was taken, and you could see your photo on air and online. During the Louisville mayor's press conference this morning, officials with LG&E, Public Works, and fire departments said they were working around the clock. The mayor said many of the crew members had not slept. More than 50 people went out with the Fern Creek Fire Department, cutting trees, clearing roadways, and making sure power lines weren't a danger to anyone. Councilman James Peden was with the mayor this morning. He covers District 23, part of southern Jefferson County. Peden says our most valuable resource right now is our neighbors.
My neighbor's shed wound up in my backyard. I was standing on my deck watching this thing get started before I actually did the smart thing and ran. But at the same time, by the time it was over, we were out helping a neighbor put her fence back up so she could let her dogs out.
Peden says if you need help, ask, and people in the community will come together. Metro Works said they will begin hauling larger debris and will likely work through today, tomorrow, and Saturday to get that done. They're also opening a drop-off site for debris at the Fern Creek Park on Ferndale Road tomorrow. Until they can get everything cleared, some people are going to stay in the dark. We are taking a look now at power outages in the area. Right now, there are around 7,600 outages in Jefferson County. LG&E says that at one point last night, there were 26,000 outages. In eastern Jefferson County, around 133 homes are still in the dark, and Public Works tells us it likely will not be fixed today. Officials surveyed damage in Glen Mary all day today, but next, we are hearing from the people who survived the storm, even if their houses didn't. This is a live look at those houses right now. Neighbors tell us their main concerns are not the stuff they lost, but something even more important.
The message is, you might be able to hide for a while, but we're going to find you, even if you're not here.
A mystery for 35 years. Tonight, the search for a serial killer with ties to cases in Kentucky and Indiana is over. Investigators say they have identified the I-65 killer. The man now tied to 3 murders, 1 assault, and possibly even more cases is Harry Ed Greenwell, a Louisville man with a lengthy criminal history who died in 2013. Shane McAllister's been following the case with more on that major news conference today as well.
Well, Doug, this has been 3 decades in the making, really. It was police work and a combination of dedicated detectives' work in years past and actually new technology that ultimately led them to the killer. State police, local departments, and FBI agents made the announcement this morning. They say they used investigative genealogy to make the big break in the case. According to police, the DNA connected Greenwell to 3 murders and 1 assault with a 99.999% match. The 3 women killed were all motel clerks working overnight: Vicki Heath, Peggy Gill, and Jean Gilbert. Heath was from Radcliffe, working in E-Town at a Super 8 motel in 1989 on the night she was killed.
And this case really highlights the generational dedication of the Elizabethtown Police Department. Our detectives take each case personal, and they never lose faith. They never give up hope that one day their case will see closure.
There were family members in attendance at the announcement. They say they are grateful for the police work and some sense of closure in the case. Of course, they wish they could know more. They wish they could know what the killer was thinking, why he did what he did. But Doug, it's been almost a decade since he died, so those questions will likely go unanswered.
Well, a lot of information came out today that we had not heard about before, especially Greenwell himself. You reported that he's from Louisville.
Yeah, we actually got a little bit of an inside look at who he really is. What we know about Harry Greenwell comes from police and from his obituary. Police say Greenwell had a lengthy criminal history, even escaping from prison more than once. And according to his obituary, he was born in Louisville in 1944, died from cancer in Iowa in 2013, and still has some family in the Louisville area.
So, with all the information came out today, is this case really closed now?
No. Far from closed, actually. They tell us that police are actually hopeful because of this connection, they might find more victims.
Investigators have long believed that there is distinct possibility that there have been murders, rapes, robberies, or assaults that have not yet been connected to this investigation. Investigators are actively working with other departments in the Midwest to determine if Greenwell was a perpetrator of other violent crimes yet to be solved.
Now that they have that forensic genealogy, detectives believe there may be more victims that have not yet been identified. They say that they will link them to this crime if they can, Doug.
Okay, and I know we're going to have a lot more from this news conference, which involved agencies all over in Kentucky and Indiana coming up at 6.
That's right.
All right, see you then, Jay. Well, for now, we have the full update from Indiana State Police and police in Elizabethtown up on our website for you. You can look on our website's homepage, WHAS11.com, or download the free WHAS11 app to follow it anytime. More local news and new tonight. The New Albany community is mourning the loss of a beloved mother and friend shot and killed outside a gas station yesterday during a case of extreme violence we reported right here last night. Indiana State Police identifying one of the two murder victims as Brandy Douglas. Police say the suspect arrested is her husband, Sherrock Douglas. Police say the shooting happened at the Circle K on Grant Line Road and Beechwood Avenue yesterday morning about 10 a.m. We're told Sherrock Douglas fled in a car and eventually then took a woman hostage 4 miles away at a restaurant. Indiana State Police tell us that when Douglas attempted to run them over, officers shot him. WHAS 11's Isaiah Kim Martinez is talking with those heartbroken over this loss.
Family and friends describe Brandy Douglas as someone who put her kids before anyone else. Now those kids are without their mom, and the family is desperately waiting for answers. Identity of the man shot and killed at this Circle K hasn't been released yet. ISP says they're still working to notify all of his family first. In New Albany, Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
Brandy's cousin set up a GoFundMe account to help pay for funeral costs, her headstone, and to support the children she leaves behind. She leaves behind 4 children and 2 stepchildren that people say she loved as her own. We're going to have a donation link for you right on our website. Taking a closer look for you tonight, this is the 3rd domestic violence death in southern Indiana in just the past 2 months, all involving a husband or partner killing a woman. Yesterday, a man was in court charged with shooting and killing his wife right in front of her daughter in their Sellersburg, Indiana home. In this case, attorney Larry Wilder, representing the family of Elizabeth Lizzie Bennett, we talked to him yesterday.
It's very emotional for all the people there, everybody, including myself. She was a wonderful mother, a fantastic sister to her siblings, and a great daughter.
The victim's 11-year-old child calling police. Their 10-year-old friend was also nearby. Mac Lewis is being held without bond while he awaits trial for the alleged killing there. And in Jeffersonville, a man is accused of shooting his partner and trying to make it seem like a suicide. In February, police responded to a home on Carrie Ann Way in Jeffersonville. That's just off 10th Street. Police say Jesse Andrews was the one who made the initial 911 call. According to arrest records, he told officers on the scene that Jasmine Andrews had a self-inflicted gunshot wound. But when officers found the gun, it was cocked, something Jasmine could not have done after the shooting. Upon further interviews with Jasmine's family, officers say they found an extensive history of alleged abuse. Indiana is seeing a rise of domestic violence cases, mirroring the increase across the country. According to the Training Institute on Strangulation Prevention, a woman who has been choked by an intimate partner is 750 times more likely to be killed by that very same person with a gun. If this has happened to you or someone you know, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number is 800-799-7233. They are open 24/7 with professionals who can help you get out of an unsafe situation.
The head basketball coach of the University of Louisville, Kenny Payne.
U of L made it official. Kenny Payne is the head coach for U of L men's basketball. This is a historic hire for the Cards. The hire was announced at a press conference earlier today among a who's who of U of L basketball past. Kent Spencer was there through it all. Kent, what can you tell us about Kenny Payne right now?
Yeah, Shay, it all went down at the KFC Yum Center. He becomes the 23rd head coach for Louisville men's basketball and the first African-American to hold the position. Payne agrees to a 6-year deal worth $3.35 million a year, plus plenty of built-in incentives as well. Payne says this is opportunity. It's not about him. It's about everyone. He needs the support from university leadership, the community, and, of course, the fan base, and not just in the good times, but in the bad ones. Payne also understands this job about much more than coaching basketball.
That leadership that I must have to be an example for this community, for this university, to be all inclusive with everybody around, to help heal this community.
Early returns, the majority of the Cards fan base really likes this hire. But what about the ones who don't or who are still on the fence? Payne says he's just going to pour everything he has to the task at hand.
If I open myself up, and I'm saying it now in front of the world, how can a fan be against me? And does it really matter if he is?
You got to love that answer. Payne says under him, the program will not be about him. It will be about the players. Given the Cards situation with the NCAA, Payne says he told U of L interim AD Josh Hurd to give him a worst-case scenario, and he still took the job. Ken Spencer, WHAS 11 News.
All right, Ken, thank you so much. Well, Payne's hire was the worst-kept secret. WHAS 11 was live yesterday on the tarmac when Payne's plane landed at Bowman Field. He was greeted by Louisville legends Denny Crum and Wade Houston, the first black player to sign a basketball scholarship at U of L. Payne and Denny Crum are no strangers. Payne played under the legendary coach in 1986. And let's take a look back at Payne's basketball career. Payne was a freshman reserve on the Cardinals' 1986 National Championship squad. He graduated from the university in 2003. He played 4 NBA seasons from 1989 to 1993. Later, he served as the assistant coach at the University of Kentucky before getting hired as the assistant coach of the New York Knicks. Payne will be the 6th coach to lead the Cardinals in the last 48 years.
Is that your number one thing, is the pride?
That's my number one thing. Go Cards.
Many U of L fans are excited to see a bright future ahead with Coach Payne. They're happy to see a familiar face, someone who's embodied what it means to be a class act and a winner to lead the program. And as WHAS 11's Isaiah Kim Martinez found out, the hiring is significant to them for many reasons, much larger than the wins.
For many fans, this decision goes beyond basketball. It marks history and representation to the greatest degree. Official. U of L interim president Dr. Lori Gonzalez saying, let's go celebrate. In Louisville, Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
And the celebration certainly underway for many U of L fans. Support for U of L's hire pouring in on social media. Let's take a look at some of the tweets his press conference and official announcement inspired. You can see a lot of U of L fans excited about the new addition. Peter Hepner tweeted, Payne will have Louisville in the Final Four within 3 seasons. And Paul Rogers tweeted, the one thing about Louisville basketball that they really needed above all else was someone to unify the fan base and bring together former players. Kenny Payne kicked butt doing exactly that. And as Rogers mentioned, that unification is something many around Louisville believe Payne brings. Our Tyler Griever reports on how the former Cardinal players made sure to warmly welcome one of their own.
So when Kenny Payne stood up there at that podium, he looked out to see not only his former coach in Denny Crum, but so many former Cardinals who played for Crum and other coaches in Louisville basketball history. Now, the difference is those guys were not former players like them. Now, they have one of their own leading Louisville men's basketball.
I'm not standing here by myself. Brothers, will you please stand up?
Put your L's up. Reporting in Louisville, Tyler Griever, WHAS 11 on your side.
Meanwhile, U of L women's basketball coach Jeff Walz had a historic day. He signed a contract extension to stay with the program through the 2028 and 2029 season. Walz is already the winningest coach in the program's history, with a record of 410 wins and only 112 losses. He also led the Cardinals to a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament, which they are kicking off tonight. Another Kentucky team recovering today from a shocking loss. The Kentucky Wildcats are out of the NCAA tournament. Their loss to 15th seeded St. Peter's is the biggest upset of the tournament so far. And it was a tight battle, all ball game. The Wildcats were never able to pull away. The game went into overtime with St. Peter's coming away with the victory 85-79. Coach Calipari pointed out some of the big injuries to the team that derailed the Cats and he thought could get them back on track. It just didn't happen.
Like, I'm sick right now for them and just disappointed that, you know, I wish I had an answer or two. I just do. And, you know, it's just hindsight. You can play that game all you want, but give St. Peter's credit.
It was a tough loss, but players say they are proud of what they accomplished this season and that it felt great to compete in the NCAA tournament. Before last night, the Wildcats had never lost to a team seeded 12th or lower. Also, while all of this happened in the NCAA tournament before, it is still very rare. This is just the 10th time in NCAA tournament history that a 15 seed has beaten a 2 seed. Now to more local news.